Hi there, Stampers and Crafters. My name is Tami White from stampwithtami.com, and welcome to my online class where we're going to be making this beautiful spiritual card today using the His Love stamp set from Stampin Up. This project is my project for my Stampin' Demonstrator Group's blog hop. We do this every month. This month's theme is Easter. And this class is pre-recorded. Normally I do a live stream to kick off our blog hops. However, this morning I wasn't available at the exact time of the kickoff, so I'll be pre-recording this. But the fun is all still here. This is an Easter themed blog hop, and there are some amazing projects on the blog hop tour today. So be sure to pop on over to my blog at stampwithtami.com or click on the link in this video's description to take that tour and to enter our giveaway. Today's giveaway is absolutely free. It's an awesome Hello Dear Friend kit, and it is a blog comment entry. So you'll want to leave a comment on my blog with the hashtag Stampin' Contest, and you can enter multiple times on each of the blogs. You can enter once per person per blog. So you can enter multiple times by leaving comments on all the awesome projects while you're there. Have you guys been playing my Easter egg hunt game? I hope you've been having lots of fun with this. I surely had a lot of fun putting it together and hiding all those eggs for you, and collect them all for a chance to win gift certificates from me for Stampin' Up! Products. Today is Facebook Day, so there is an egg on my Facebook page. There's a link in this video's description if you happen to be watching on YouTube, but you may be watching live on Facebook, so click on over to that Facebook page and get that egg color. If you haven't downloaded your map yet, go ahead and do that so you can write in all the colors, and it's okay if you start late. You can actually backtrack and get all the eggs that you missed. The deadline is March 31st. Let's get started with our card. My inspiration for this card was Michelle Zindorf, and she is just an artist and makes some amazing things. And I was very inspired by a project that she had done with the stamp set. And so I did mine a little bit differently. I loved the rays of sun coming through here and the clouds. So I'm going to teach you how to do a little bit of stenciling and a little bit of sponging to create these effects. It's all really easy. Even though I'm going to use this card as an Easter card, it is a spiritual card and can be used for many different occasions. And simply changing the words on here will make it good for sympathy, encouragement. The first step I'm going to do on this card is the stamping. I wanted the words to be soft. I didn't want them to be overpowering with the image on here. However, I wanted them to stand out from the background just a little bit, so I put them on vellum for this soft background, because vellum is opaque and you can see through it. I'm using cinnamon cider ink. And I'm just going to stamp the Rejoice and Be Glad right in the center of that. And then I'm just going to put that aside. Next, we're going to do some masking. I'm switching over to the Memento ink pad. This is a black ink. I am going to do some coloring with Stampin' Blend, so I want to make sure I use the Memento so it doesn't run or bleed. I'm going to stamp the hands down in the lower left corner, not all the way on the corner though. Little space here. Then I'm going to stamp them again on a Post-it note on the sticky side, and we're going to make a mask out of this. So you're going to want to cut that out. It can be a very rough cut. It doesn't have to be exact, and through the magic of video, I happen to have one already cut. I'm going to ink up our book here and stamp it. I'm going to call this the Bible, but it doesn't have to be the Bible. If you are making this for yourself or someone else that celebrates a different religion, you can definitely turn that into another occasion or another religion. And then when we remove that, we have our prayer hands going through the book. So that's masking. Technique 1. Next, we're going to do some sponging. I'm going to start with our clouds for a background, and it just so happened that the Here's to You Paper Pumpkin kit, my kit came last week, and it had a cloud stencil in it. There were some free stencils in the kit. I also have a video for some alternate projects for that kit that use the rest of the stencils, including this one. So be sure to catch that on stampwithtami.com or on my YouTube channel. But in the meantime, it was genius that it came because I'm going to use this for my clouds. If you don't have a cloud stencil, though, there are many ways that you can do the technique I'm about to share. From Stampin' Up, these are the happy dies, and this is a template that you could cut out, and you could use that for your clouds. You could use circle punches in different shapes to create a cloudish look. You could even fussy cut it with your hands. So I'm going to start right about here, and I want the clouds to be random, so I'm just going to ink along the edge, maybe not the whole edge, but I'm using the darkest of the ink towards the right edge of the paper, and then as I go to the left, it's getting lighter. And then I'm going to move this around randomly. I'm trying not to line it up exactly the same each time so that it has that random look. And maybe one more over here. That's good. I think we have enough there. We're just enough to make a sky effect. Next, I'm going to take the cinnamon cider and a Stampin' sponge. And I'm going to sponge around pretty much the whole background and even over some of the clouds. I even went over the book and even some of the hands. And when I get to the book binding, I'm going to actually take and make that a little bit darker. A little off, but that's okay. I can just kind of sponge that in, blend that in with the rest of it. And then I'm going to get the edges all the way around. All right, next I'm going to do some coloring, and I'm going to start by creating the hands here. So it's going to look like a black suit. Maybe we've got a priest here or a pastor, or maybe we've just got somebody in their Sunday best who's praying. And I'm going to use the fine tip end of the black Stampin' Blend marker, and I'm going to draw the rest of the suit. And I'm going to do that on both hands, so the arm there. Just hand draw that in. And then these are Stampin' Blends, so I'm going to go in there and color the whole thing in with the light. This is actually, if I said smoky slate, I apologize. This is basic black. Basic black Stampin' Blends, not smoky slate. Okay, so the whole thing on the lighter, and it's so dark. The black is so dark anyways that it's almost hard to tell the difference between the light and the dark. But when I use the dark, you can see it. And if you wanted to, and I'm going to use the nib tip, you could also reinforce the book binding. Right there. For that, I'm going to use the Petal Pink Stampin' Blends. First, I'm going to color them all in with the light. And we do have different color blends, so if you want the hands to be different colors, you can just swap out the colors. Now I'm using the darker. I'm following the natural shading here on the image to make some darker spots. And then we'll just go back in and blend that. I might even layer some dark here in a couple of areas. There. Really make it pop. And if you wanted to, you can take the color lifter just in this area right here and lighten it up a little bit. All right, now we need to add some white back in. We started with the basic white cardstock and we've sponged it, but there's some areas that we want to be white, so I'm taking the white chalk pen and drawing that white right back in. I'm going to do that on fingernails, on the bookmark, and maybe even on the pages of the book. Now we're going to create the sun rays. I am using the Whisper White Craft ink pad. The craft ink is a lot thicker than the classic ink, and it's going to show up. It shows up on darker colors where the classic ink wouldn't. And I'm actually going to use the grid paper here as a guide to line it up. So I've got a scrap piece of grid paper here, but I'm just going to use it. I'm going to start by starting in the corner. I'm going to use the corner up here as my guide for all of my rays. And then I'm going to align the bottom part up here with the first bottom part with a half inch mark, wherever you have your panel lined up. So I'll just line that back up. And I'm going to dip the sponge in the white craft ink and just right up along that edge. And then I'm just going to move this out so you can see it. Isn't that awesome? It's like a little sun ray in there. Now from here on out, I'm going to go 1 inch increments. So I started with the half inch, and then I'm going to move 1 inch increments over for each of the sun rays, and I'm going to repeat the same thing that I just did. So I just did another ray. I'm going to move this over a full inch Doesn't matter if you don't want them exactly spaced up. They don't have to be exactly at an inch. You can put them wherever you like them. I'm not completely going over the hand, just a little bit, but not a lot over the hand there for that ray. I'll just lift that up so you can see. Got a couple of rays coming down now. Move that over another inch. And if you find one ray isn't as dark as you'd like, you can go back over it, add a little bit more color to it, or a little bit more white to it, I guess it is. When you're done, you've got your sun rays. We do sell this grid paper in my online store. So next we're going to put the words on, and how I did that was I lined it up how I wanted it here on the front. I intentionally have a little bit of a longer piece of vellum here because I'm actually going to fold it around. Because the adhesive shows through the vellum, I'm putting the adhesive on the back. And then just folding those over. So we have our words on here. Now, if you wanted to put a little bit of adhesive, like a glue dot or something, you could. Just make sure that you put it underneath where the words are. Just gently pull that up. I can do a little bit just to show you. So that, see those letters? A little bit there so that it doesn't show through. We'll just go ahead and put these pieces on with seal adhesive. Balmy blue to cinnamon cider. I rejoice on top of that. And some Stampin' Dimensionals to attach that to our card base. And the last little piece I did here was I took one of these matte black dots and it added it to the jacket of the sports coat or suit to look like a button or a cufflink. And our card is complete. I have all the measurements on the free PDF. You'll find this on the resource page, and you're going to want to go there anyway so you can check out the blog hop and enter our contest. Be sure to download this while you're there so you have a list of the measurements of this card and the supplies that I used, and you'll also find some more resources over there. Don't forget the retiring list was announced this past week, so if you haven't gotten all your favorites out of that annual catalog, you're going to want to do that. And I have information there on how to get the new catalog when it comes out in May. Thanks for joining me today.